Naz Reid. Now this got very interesting as a Spurs writer has just revealed a perfect Spurs move with the Minnesota Timberwolves having a lot of trouble with their cap and Naz Reid expected to opt out of his contract coming off a conference finals appearance. The Wolves are in dire straits right now, and with the Spurs and Wembanyama likely needing a backup big, Naz Reid's name has surfaced. We got to dive into what this writer suggests for the San Antonio Spurs and how we can make this happen, bringing in a guy that is beloved not only by Wolves fans, but fans league-wide, and I know you guys like him as well, so stick around for all that on this episode of Spurs Digest. But hey, before we get into it, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. We got Spurs content coming every single day, all off-season long. This is your spot for all the latest Spurs news. Keenan, let's just jump into this. Now, this comes from Last Word on Sports. I will link the article down below so you can go have a read of it yourself. But let's just take a look at what he said here. Now, no, not Kevin Durant. That was the other video. This is from Nate Rogers saying, the cap is tight in Minnesota, leaving LSU product Naz Reid on the outside looking in. The Spurs have the opportunity to form a dangerous front court duo and one that could take them over the top. Now, Keenan, I know we'll get into the cap implications a little bit later, but Naz Reid, objectively, if you're just talking fit for the San Antonio Spurs, there's not many players that fit better than Naz Reid. Again, I feel like the three-point percentage catches people off guard if you don't watch him play. This guy can do everything. He's mobile. Is he really a center? He's like 6'9". He's a good enough rebounder. He's a good enough shot blocker. I think he could fill a great role in San Antonio, and I think he would be a fantastic fit next to Victor Wembanyama.
Poles said before we needed a big at 46% and 42% a shooter, and then after that, the rest of the 12% doesn't matter. This fills both in one person. He is a shooter who also is a big. He can go in there and play the 5. He can play alongside Jeremy Sochan. He can play alongside Victor Wembanyama. You could put him in multiple lineups, and Naz Reid would be perfect for it. He can shoot. He's a big-time player. He was one of the most clutch players on the Timberwolves. He's played in back-to-back Western Conference Finals. He's played in big spots. So this guy knows how to play in crunch time, knows how to play in clutch moments, plus also along with Wemby as a shooter, a true shooter.
Yeah.
I love it. I think Naz Reid would be perfect for this roster.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, like just to give you guys some more context on the Wolves situation right now, both Julius Randle and Naz Reid have player options. Naz Reid is $15 million. And as the article states, also there's been reports that Reid is expected to decline that. And that's no surprise because he's worth a lot more on the open market. And look, the option percent of 15 has become clear he's seeking a big payday and he could command over 20 million. And Keenan, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go even a bit higher than that $20 million figure with Naz Reid, which would just really be tough for the Timberwolves with a lot of money locked up for a lot of years. And if Randall opts into his 30 million, it might help him a bit, but he might also want some more money. So they're in a tough spot. If it comes down to it, Naz could be on his way out, but I completely agree with you. Like, you look at the Spurs right now, just taking a look through their payroll, you can fit a guy like Naz Reid in. Now, the cap implications for this, Keenan, are a little bit interesting because the Spurs, as far as I understand, you can't just sign him as a free agent right now because we're over the cap, as is, I think, every team in the league. But what you can do is a sign and trade. And a sign and trade, it does hard cap you at the first apron, but only for one season. I mean, look, Keenan, I don't know if the Wolves would want any of our guys that we would want to trade out in a move like this to try and salary match like a Harrison Barnes or a Keldon Johnson, but you throw a few futures in there, we're talking like a future Hawks pick and Harrison Barnes and maybe make sure that cap works out nicely in a sign and trade for Naz Reid. You take the hard cap for one season, the year before Fox's extension is due. You know, I think this could actually be something the Spurs could pull off, though it would be a little bit complicated.
It would be a little complicated, and that shouldn't deter anybody from thinking that this isn't actually legitimate because it'd be complicated for almost any team in the league, and that's just because of how the new CBA works with contracts. So I think that Harrison Barnes, a pick for Naz Reid in a sign and trade, would make the most sense because you got a guy in Harrison Barnes who could go to the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves clearly understand that they are still a contender in the Western Conference. They want to compete. Barnes has won a championship. He has played in multiple finals. He has been to big moments, big spots, and can shoot the three at a high level. So you get a guy who is older, plus he's an aspiring contract for next year. And then you get a guy like Naz Reid to come to us. We can actually take that money financially more. And another point about the Timberwolves contractually, Julius Randle could opt in, even say he does. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a full unrestricted free agent. He is going to command at least $10+ million on the open
Yeah.
market because he has showed in the playoffs that he can actually go and produce at a high level, and he showed during the regular season he can shoot at a high level plus play high level defense. So the Timberwolves are not going to be able to keep Randle, Naz Reid, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. One must go, and it would make sense for Naz Reid to be that piece, and I think that Naz Reid would fit on this roster perfectly, and we would be able to move off of pieces that could actually benefit the Timberwolves moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think as a Wolves fan, you would probably say, please give me more for Naz Reid. This guy's worth a lot. But the unfortunate truth is that the Wolves don't have the leverage in a move like this. Like, you're in a tough cap situation. You want to run it back. You want to keep Naz Reid. It would not shock me if, as soon as they were eligible, they found a way to extend him. Because I think that's their top priority. And it's got to be at least one of them, right? This guy is so important to their team. But at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers, and there is a world where if Naz wants to make a lot of money and the Wolves can't move off of some salary and they want to sacrifice some depth, you never know. It could happen. But I wanted to circle back on something that you mentioned earlier, Keenan, and it's the fit on this team. And just to give some more context, I mean, if you guys weren't already sold on Naz Reid, because who isn't? I mean, this guy's unreal, right? I wanted to show you some of the most used lineups last season for the Spurs. Now, again, this is a weird year, because Devin Vassell missed some time, and of course, Wemby missed a lot of the season, and so did Fox. But if you look at all of the lineups the Spurs used this year that have played at least 100 minutes together, all of them have either Victor Wembanyama or Bismack Biyombo as the center. And that's it, right? So Biyombo was our most used center in lineups without Victor Wembanyama. And actually, the next lineup here, the one that's only 70 minutes, the sixth placed lineup, sixth most used, it had Jeremy Sochan at center. Again, needing a bigger body. Again, is Naz Reid a true center? I mean, not really. You'd say he plays it, though. I mean, look, he's listed as the center this year and most years of his career, and I think he could absolutely fill that role in the Spurs. But not only would he fill in and not have to play a guy like Biyombo in all those minutes without Victor Wembanyama, you mentioned the three-point shooting, Keenan. I mean, look, we know we need a shooter, but just to give some more context on that front, the Spurs, they were 7th this year in three-point attempts. That's largely due to Mitch Johnson's offense. He loves to push the pace, loves to shoot the three, but the Spurs were 20th in three-point percentage. We shoot the volume, we just don't have the percentage. And a guy like Naz Reid, especially at the position he is, that is such a premium for this Spurs team. Again, I feel like I'm just selling myself more and more. I just want them to find a way to pull this off if they can, because I think I'm just in love with the idea of Naz Reid joining this team, provided we don't make another big crazy move.
Absolutely. And the thing is, Naz Reid does have a little bit of game off the bounce. Naz Reid can play make a little bit here too. Obviously, no one is Victor Wembanyama, but a thing that you love to have is where your offense doesn't have to drastically change after one substitution. You take Wemby out for Naz Reid, you can run a lot of the same sets because you got a guy who can pick and pop plus also pick and roll, can make a play off the dribble as well. So he can play like Ish Wemby offensively. Obviously, he's not Victor Wembanyama. No one in the history of the league is. He's literally an alien. But you can put him into situations where the pick and pop with Wemby with De'Aaron Fox might feel the same, or Stephon Castle getting downhill with Naz Reid compared to Wemby. You're in situations where Naz Reid could really ignite this team, and you're not gutting it for the future. And also, one thing that we didn't mention here too is in all of this, Devin Vassell still the odd man out because of the fact that we have the Dylan Harper pick. If we do need to move off of Devin Vassell for cap purposes, we could move off of him for cap purposes to another team who is a little worse for a nice rotational piece. Plus, they can eat up that cap. Like, say, Brooklyn, they're willing to give up a piece, and we're able to take that in. So, like, there's options there, too. This team has so much flexibility because of the pieces that are actually high commodities. Plus, we have cap space. So, that's where this deal can always get interesting, even more and more interesting on the Naz Reid front.
And the Spurs have always been very, very good with the books, right? That's kind of one thing we've always loved to do, and making money matter, right? Like making the most of what we have. And like you said, I mean, there are going to be some moves. I mean, we've talked a lot about Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell, a lot of very tradable deals. Like a lot of teams are happy to take Keldon Johnson, especially now that his cap is dipping to $17.5 million for the next 2 years, and even Vassell $27 million. A lot of teams would be happy to take that, especially if he has a big bounce back next year, which I think he really is poised to do going into his first fully healthy season in a couple of years. So listen, we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Naz Reid, any other moves the Spurs could make, because the reports are coming out left and right. Something's going to go down. It's just a matter of what and when. But that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. And if you like staying up to date on all the latest news, this is the spot to be. So hit that free subscribe button down below. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Keenan Warner. We'll catch you in the next one.